the first thing we're going to talk about, it's what's mentioned in the chat. The unfortunate passing of one Mr. Terry Brunk, aka Sabu. What can you say about Sabu? The man was an innovator. He was every bit his namesake applied. He was homicidal. He was suicidal. He was genocidal. He was Sabu. And speaking of somebody who grew up in the 90s during the Attitude Era, I didn't really see much of ECW outside of the occasional wrestling publication, which I happen to buy from the grocery store every so often. It would feature them talking about WCW and WWF at the time, and they would oftentimes mention ECW. I already knew of ECW, I just never watched it because we weren't able to pick it up in Texas around the time. I was able to watch a lot of it when I went to spend summers with my aunt in Chicago. And I watched some of it, and that was my first real exposure to seeing ECW live. And the two things I remember was the Dudley Boys. I can't remember who they were fighting, but they left an impression on me to keep watching the Dudley Boys. And a match with Sabu. That was my first time watching Sabu, and who is this guy wearing these glittery, sparkly genie pants? Like, what is he? But then the match started, and I'm like, oh my god, this guy is insane. And I'm like, wow. Just wow. He was worth the buzz. And I was a big Sabu fan from that point onwards. Then ECW got a national televised deal with TNN, now known as the Spike Network. And I was able to watch ECW on a weekly basis. In fact, the first pay-per-view I ever bought was an ECW pay-per-view. And I can't remember what it was. I know Just Incredible and Tommy Dreamer were main eventing that night, but I can't remember much else from that match, but I had to look it up. But yeah, Sabu always struck me as the guy who represented ECW the best. I mean, you had your RVDs, you had your Balls Mahoneys, your Sandmans, your New Jacks, your Just Incredibles, your Ravens, your FBIs, your Roadkills. But for me, ECW was most represented by Sabu. And Sabu, he wrestled a style that no one would dare to do back then. He just was an absolute animal. Like, he could mat wrestle, but he preferred doing hardcore stuff. That's okay with him. But he mixed high-flying, innovative offense and aerial moves with his hardcore stuff. Like, it wasn't just the fact that he used tables and chairs and barbed wire. It's how he used them. And that's allowed him to stand out amongst everybody else on the roster. Just about 85 to 90% of the guys on the roster were using weapons and chairs. Nobody used them like Sabu. Like, you don't even see someone doing an Arabian face buster, which is basically a leg drop, but with a chair. Nobody did that shit. The closest person I can liken Sabu to is Darby Allin. And he did it, and Sabu did wrestle for a cup of coffee with WWE after the Invasion storyline. His very first feud was against John Cena, and they had some pretty baller-ass matches back then. Then he transitioned over to TNA, where he had some even more brutal matches, specifically against Chris Parks, the man formerly known as the Monster Abyss. They had some crazy ass matches, including some barbed wire matches that, while not to the level of his barbed wire match against Terry Funk, were still pretty gnarly. And whenever someone says, oh, wrestling doesn't hurt, it's all fake, I tell them, go look at Sabu's body and tell me that shit's not fake. Because Sabu wasn't just known for his in-ring style, but his sheer toughness. Like, the things he would do to keep a match going. In that same barbed wire match he had against the Funker, he tore open his bicep bad. But instead of stopping the match or getting proper medical treatment, he just has Bill Alfonso give him some tape, and he taped that sumbitch shut, and then he kept on wrestling. Sabu was a hardcore icon. Yeah, Devil. He was truly one of the toughest ones out there, and it warmed me. And just a few weeks ago, he had his official retirement match for with GCW, facing off against the bad boy Joey Janela in a barbed wire match. And the less I'll say about that for now, the better. I don't want to throw any ideas out there. I already made my feelings known on Blue Sky about what I feel is about the circumstances behind it. So yeah, losing Sabu was a gut punch, and it warmed my heart to see so many fans and so many wrestlers just coming together and sharing their memories of him. And I could just say this about Sabu: he gave more to professional wrestling than he ever got out of it. And that's a sad part, is that he was never really appreciated. It took him dying for people to finally appreciate Sabu as the legend that he is. And the irony is, tonight on Dark Side of the Ring, it will be an episode dedicated to his uncle, the original Sheik, and Sabu, of course, is speaking on it. So who would have thought last week that when we were going to be talking about the Sheik, this would be the last time many of us would be seeing Sabu alive. So yeah, so that's just a kind of ironic sort of thing going out there. I'm definitely going to watch it either tonight or tomorrow, but just to see Sabu one more time, just to see that crazy bastard one more time talking about his uncle, an even more crazy bastard. We already got people sharing their thoughts and their prayers and their remembrances with about Sabu, mostly people who worked with him, like Taz, especially RVD. Who else? Many modern day wrestlers like Maven, like Sammy Guevara, like Hangman Adam Page, and so many people who are in the past and present who have shared a ring with him or shared a locker room with him say he was the chillest, most sweetest guy out there, and he is so damn underrated. He deserves far more than he got, and hopefully he'll be going into the Hall of Fame next year, because he certainly has needed to be going to the Hall of Fame. So, one last time for Sabu, point to the sky.